since September I've been kind of spending 2 weeks in Edinburgh, 2 weeks in London, 2 weeks in Edinburgh, 2 weeks in London. And when I'm here, I'm trying to fit in everybody in Scotland, and then when I'm there, I'm trying to meet as many people in London. I've just been running ragged.
Where do you actually live?
I live in Edinburgh.
Oh, well, that's okay.
It's not too bad. And I've been sleeping on my friend's sofa in London when I'm there, so I've been doing a bit of cramming, of trying to fit so many people in. And over December and January, I've been taking it a bit slower.
And you're just going to kind of compile it into a smaller group. You're just going to kind of target focus.
Well, like the key people that kind of want to see me regularly and are happy to, to invite me to salons and things. I think that will hopefully a key group of people, rather than trying to meet 100 people once. Do you know what I mean? So,
well, you are more than welcome to come to anything. Come up here, I'll come down. Whatever you need me to do, I'm happy to do it.
Thank you. That's great.
So, well, I don't know what kind of you need from me, first of all, but I don't know where to start. I'll tell you a bit about how it started.
Yeah.
My mum, I remember the moment I started. They do say that. I was talking to Lucinda and she said that everyone remembers the first time that they kind of did it. And I remember seeing my mum, I was in the back of the car, and I must have been about 6 or 7, and I saw my mum pulling her hair in the front, and I was just like, what are you doing? That's the worst thing you can say, isn't it? Someone who's pulling at the time. And I didn't think anything more of it. And then when I was 13, I don't know what triggered it off, but I started pulling, and I think I sort of associate it with what Mum did. Started when I was 13, and then I kind of didn't do it very much, just kind of the odd bit, and then stopped for ages, and then had a really nasty breakup, and then started it all over again. And I have been pretty constant from then until now. Right. So that's 10 years, pretty constant now. And I was all for hiding it, didn't tell anyone, didn't just completely hide away, pretend it wasn't happening, tried to do really funky. I grew my hair as long as I possibly could, and then just put it in this horrendous bird's nest on top of my head to kind of like, so I used to pin it rather than put it in a ponytail or anything. You should just pin it all up and then just hope for the best that no one would notice that it was really thin. And everyone used to comment, oh, you've got such nice thick hair, and I was just like, if only you knew. And then 2 years ago I went to Cinderella after Vicky's present, and I've got extensions. There was a bit, because I'm really bad, it's this bit for me, just behind my ears. I don't pull the top, because I'm quite conscious of when I'm doing it, because my sister says that she will go through spouts, she does it at work a lot, and she goes through spouts where she pulls, but she doesn't realise she's doing it, and then all of a sudden she'll look down and she'll see just loads of hair, whereas I'm very aware when I'm doing it, and I always have been. So I've got a certain element of control, because I am sitting there thinking, I know I shouldn't be doing this, but I am. So I don't do anything at the top, but I'm really bad behind my ears, and I've managed to avoid a system, which is really good. And we were touch and go at one stage. About a year and a half ago, I had a really bad spell again. I tend to go in sort of waves. So I'll do 3 months where I barely do it at all, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, I'll kick the habit. And then it will just take me pulling one hair or catching a hair on something like a jacket, and it just starts it all off again, and that'll be me for like 6 months. Then I'll have like a month where I don't do it, and I'll start again. So my year is up and down, peaks and troughs. But I had a meeting with Lucinda where she kind of like spent an hour just kind of discussing it. Have you met her personally?
Yeah, I have a couple of times.
She's out there, and she's great. She's wonderful. But I didn't feel that she tackled my problems specifically, because I think that I'm probably a little bit different to everyone else, because it's not actually the sensation for me of pulling that makes me do it, because she's got all the kind of pins and things like that, which she tells doesn't work at all for me, like doesn't help at all, because for me it's not the sensation. For me it's just the kind of feeling, the playing, and having something to do with my hands. And it's just like a habit. I sucked my fingers when I was a kid, and I was really late in kicking that habit, and I think I've just kind of, this is just deference into something else that's keeping me busy with my hands. So the way I'm trying to combat it at the moment is to do things with my hands. So I got some really silly little tricks that I kind of use. I'm trying to help Vicky with, but she's not really, they don't really work for her, because hers is actually the sensation. So like elastic bands are like my godsend. Normally I'll always have like an elastic band, or I've gone to hair bands because people don't think they're suspicious,
Yeah.
and I'll just play with it on my hands like that when I'm feeling kind of a bit like itchy hands. And the other one is like silly putty.
Oh,
Do you know that kind of like stuff that you used to play with when you were a kid?
Play-Doh or something?
Yeah, a bit like Play-Doh. And I've got there's this make that is an adult kind of thing, and it's quite good because it changes colour in your hands. And I've got a tiny little pot, so it's really discreet. I keep it on my desk at work. And then if I'm feeling a little bit anxious or stressed, because mine's anxiety and stress related, if I'm feeling a little bit anxious and I'm feeling like my boss is having a go at me or whatever, I just get it out of the tin and I play with it. But because it changes colour, there's almost like you've got a purpose to it.
Yeah.
So because it's dark and you want it to go kind of like it's dark purple, and then you try and make it go pink, you're focusing on not only playing with it but making it change colour. And for me, having the focus to try and achieve something,
wow, that's
helps.
a great idea.
Because I'm just like, well, I know that instead of, because I think if it was just the thing, if it was just the kind of like putty element and just playing with it, that would be fine.
But you might get bored of it.
But you might get bored of it and just put it down. Whereas with this, I'm kind of got a goal, and it doesn't take long. It takes 10-15 minutes. But that's 10-15 minutes I'm not pulling.
Exactly.
And I'll put it down, I'll put it in the tin, it gets cold again, and then a few minutes after that I can start again. So that's been really helpful. That's a new one.
Wow.
That's only in the last kind of 3 months that I've started to do that.
Do you remember the name of that brand?
Yeah. Do I? It's like, I think it's got Adrian in the title.
Adrian?
Yeah, really odd. In fact, I'll have it because I bought my sister one for Christmas, but she doesn't use
That's
it.
a good idea, because about 15 minutes is usually, I think, what was I at something recently, and they said the amount of time to sit through an urge is about 8 minutes or something.
Is it?
If you're trying to overcome the urge to do anything that you're kind of half addicted to, you need to give yourself 7 or 8 minutes to just ride it out, and then it'll pass. So that's.
I didn't know
really,
that. 8 minutes. Right, let's see if I can find something that I've bought recently on my eBay account.
Maybe it's even shorter than 8 minutes, like 3 minutes or something.
Because I'm hopeless. I'm really bad at just giving in.
I know.
If it was something, it was it's been really good, and they do loads of different ones. And I kind of think that I could have done a stress ball.
Yeah.
But it's the same kind of principle in that it's really got no purpose, and I think for me I need to have something to kind of work towards. Must be here somewhere. But it's been quite handy. And then I went to I've been to a couple of doctors.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, I think that the doctors have been pretty hopeless. I don't know whether you've experienced the same.
Yes, I think everybody says that.
They just don't understand. The first doctor I went to kind of gave me I kind of didn't really tell her. I was kind of testing the water. I was just like, I play with my hair a bit, and she just kind of was just a bit like, what is she trying to tell me something? I'm not quite sure. Anyway, she skirted over and completely changed the subject. She didn't try and probe. She didn't try and sort of say, what is it that. She didn't try and do anything like that. And then I was really lucky that she was my normal doctor, and then I had to have an emergency appointment for something, and I got one of the other girls who's sort of roughly sort of our age, and she gave this she had the most amazing, like, welcoming kind of personality, and she just sort of like said, how can I help you today? And it was whilst we were talking about, I can't even remember what it was something really trivial, that I was just really like, actually I think I could talk to you about this. So I was just like, so I pulled my hair, and I've been quite stressed. I've been pulling my hair, and I've been doing it for a while, and she was just like, right, let's sort it. And she spent like half an hour just going through everything with me. She was an absolute hero. And she sort of said that was 2 years ago, and that was just when I was kind of had started with Lucindarelli, so I was more sort of open to talking about it. And she said, see how it goes with Lucindarelli before we take any kind of like big action, because anything like CBT and things will take a good 6 months to be on the waiting list. So
don't worry about finding the name of that thing if you can.
Yeah,
I'm sure I can find.
But it's good anyway. And she and then it didn't. Lucindarelli, it was great in that the extensions help. I haven't stopped.
Right.
I'm still really bad. But I think I am definitely a lot better than I was before. But no, she